pasta dough. We made pasta, and we made them using Fusco Imports 3-flour pizza blend and cheesy signs, I know, but they're okay. Fusco Imports 3-flour pasta blend. I don't have a sign for this, but this is 3-flour bread blend. Just forget that word and put in bread. 3-flour bread blend. Now let me tell you why we do that, why we blend flours. First, because it just comes out better. The product comes out better. When I say product, I mean your bread, your pasta, and your pizza, they come out better. Why? Because every flour has a distinct value to it. And when you, like anything else, it's like when you blend anything, when you blend it properly, and according to our formulas that we've developed over several years, once when we had our pizzeria and so on, when you blend certain types of flours, you end up with a superior product. The reason most people don't blend is because it takes time, and time is money. But we feel that if we give you our blends of flour, you end up with a superior product every time. So that's why we blend flours, and that's why we have 3 distinct blends. We're working on a few more, but really we're kind of concentrating on, and always have, pizza, a pizza mix, blend, whatever, a pasta mix, and a bread mix. This today is bread. We're going to do bread today. Fusco Imports 3-flour bread blend. What we're going to start with is 4 cups. Usually I make a bigger thing, a bigger load of this, but this is 4 cups of our bread blend flour, okay? And we're going to stick that right in there, okay? Then we're going to take some yeast. Now I don't have, I use my hand. You know, some of you probably do too, but this is about a tablespoon of yeast. See? Put that in there. You don't have to put it in, a lot of people do, but I don't put it in the water and let it bubble up and all that, the yeast, for a while. So what I'm going to do is, because yeast and salt don't get along, I'm going to mix that yeast in there. Okay? Then I'm going to put in, like, maybe, oh, that's way too much. Maybe a teaspoon and a half of salt. See? Put the salt in. Mix it up. And then maybe a tablespoon of sugar. See, sugar? We keep it simple here. You know what? Tablespoon of sugar. About that much. Boom. Mix that in here. Now for this, we're going to use our dough hook. Okay? We're going to use, instead of this, although you could use this because this is going to be a pretty sloppy dough. You want maybe 40, maybe 50 to 65% moisture content for bread. So it's going to be pretty sloppy, but that's okay because it'll set up after a while and it'll be fine. So put that on there. Next thing we'll do is add our water. Now don't forget what I told you about your yeast, by the way. The yeast, buy the big, let me show you. See this? Okay. That's, that's like, I don't know, what is it? 2 pounds of yeast. It'll last you forever. Well, what I do is I buy it because it's cheaper this way. It's a lot cheaper this way. You buy it, and then you freeze it. And if you open it up, you put it in a container like you saw me, one of those airtight container, and you stick that in the freezer. And the yeast stays good for a very long time. I'm not sure how long, but I mean, I've had that yeast for months. It's frozen. It's living stuff anyway, so if you freeze it, it's going to be, like cryogenic yeast. It's frozen. Cried, you know, you get what I'm saying. Now the secret, there's a big secret in making bread. And what it is patience. I don't have much, but I give it a shot. Okay, so we're going to turn this on and get it going. Now this is 2 cups of water. I don't know that I'm going to need 2 cups of water, and this is the one thing you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn, and you can do it. You know, it's not that hard. You got to learn how to watch your dough and make sure, okay, that's where I want to be. Now remember, we want to be around 50 to 65% moisture content, so that's going to be a pretty sloppy dough, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. Don't worry about it. All right, so we're going to start pouring in our water. It's about a cup. Okay, not enough. We may even need more. But we start with 2 cups because you don't want it to get like water. I mean, you know, you want it to get nice. So that's maybe a cup and a half. And we'll give it all 2 cups. We may need a little more. Okay, I'm going to let that go, and then I'll show you what it looks like. And if we need more water, we're going to put more water in. You know, we want that consistency just right. We want it right around, you know, like it's a little better than half sloppy, you know? I'll show you. Okay, that's where we're at now. We're going to add more water to this, but I just wanted you to see what it looks like after 2 cups of water. 4 cups of flour, right? Was it 4? Yeah, 4 cups of flour. 2 cups of water. So far, we're going to add more. We had, what, a tablespoon of yeast, a tablespoon of sugar, maybe a teaspoon and a half of salt. That's it. That's bread. Italian bread. Wait till you see this. Now, by the way, my name is Peter Fusco. I own the company, Fusco Imports. My kids always tell me, you know, you don't even tell people who you are. Well, that's who I am. For those of you who, well, we won't get into that. Anyway, so this is what it looks like now. And we're going to start pouring in more water, and you'll see what I mean when I say 50 to 65% moisture content. All right, so a little more water. And you see what happens? It starts to slide around in there, but that's okay. We want it to do that. We want it to get really. Don't mind the shaking of the camera. We're going to let it go. And what you want, you know, listen, this is the flours. There's gluten in the flour. You want to get it really whipping up there to get the gluten going. But you see how that? Can you see that? It's getting nice and sloppy. That's the way we want it. Okay, we turned up the speed, and we ended up with 2 2/3 cups of water. Now it's going to change, you know, because the water content, water and flour depends on, believe it or not, the weather. It depends on the conditions in your house. If it's dry, you need more water. I mean, that's the way it goes. But we're going to let this mix for a while. When it's done, I'll show you what it looks like. It'll be nice and smooth, be sloppy, but that's what we want. We want that moisture. You see that? Here, let me stop this thing. Can you see that in there? You see how that is? It's not quite smooth yet, but it's sloppy enough. That's what we want. See how that is? See how it's like goopy? That's just the way you want it. All right? This is going to be beautiful. When it's done, you're going to see a loaf of bread. By the way, this takes time. And, of course, we're going to condense it, obviously, so that you don't have to sit and wait for hours watching this video. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this out. You need one of these things. It's a plastic scraper. And we're going to take this dough out. We're going to put it into a big bowl. And when I say big, I mean big. Now, you don't have to have one that big. I'm fooling around. It's pretty big. I won't measure it. You want me to measure it for you? You want me to measure it? All right, hang on. I'll measure it for you. It's a big ball. Yeah, watch. 19 inches. Huh? Okay. All right. Now what we're going to do, normally I'd oil this, but I want to save time, so I'm going to use this crappy spray. Listen, don't buy canola oil. I'm telling you right now. You know, I'm using it because I have to, but, well, I really don't have to, but I'm using it anyway. But canola oil is made from rapeseed. You know, they originally made it to oil machinery. That's true. Out of Canada. Okay, well, Canada's good for a lot of things. Beautiful women. Anyhow, we're going to spray that bowl like that. Oh, that stuff stinks. We're going to spray that bowl like that. We're going to undo this thing, the dough hook. And what we're going to do, get this out of the way. This is our bench dough, or our bench flour. And what we're going to do is, this is going to get sloppy. Your hands are going to get sloppy, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all right. It's fun. It's like when you were kids, you know. You get dirty and sloppy. The dirtier and sloppier you got, the more fun it was. And we're just going to let that just kind of sit there. All right. Put this aside. Now, we're going to take our, I know, I had to be a wise guy and have the big bowl, but hey, what are you going to do? Now we're going to take our flour, or our dough. I'm going to have to do this left-handed just to show you, so excuse me, because I'm a righty. And we're going to just scrape that dough. See how it is? See that? I know, it's sloppy mess. That's perfect though. That's exactly what you want. Alright? I'm going to put that in this bowl. Okay. I'm going to finish this up off camera, alright? And then we'll be back. Well, I was just being a wise guy with this. And it was, of course, like every wise guy, you get stupid. So I'm going to transfer it to another bowl. And this time, I'm using olive oil to coat the bowl like this, see? So the dough doesn't stick, right? Coat the bowl real good. All right? Don't worry about getting your hands dirty as long as you wash your hands. By the way, speaking of washing, every time when you use like your dough hook and all that, everything that's got leftover dough in it, soak it in water right away. It's going to be a pain in the neck cleaning. So, you know, stop what you're doing and get some, you know, put it in the water. All right. Now we're just gonna, I want you to see this. We're just gonna, see that? Just gonna, boop, dump the dough in the new bowl. I know, I was being a wise guy. My father used to warn me about that, but, you know, I'm a show-off. I'll bet you a lot of you guys are show-offs too. But, that's that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a little oil on the dough just to keep it, you know, nice. Okay, so this is what it looks like, okay? It's beautiful. It's nice and smooth and silky. So what we're going to do, like any, you know, like any rising dough, we're going to cover it. Usually I'd throw a mapine, you know, a cloth over it, but we'll do it this way. It's a plastic wrap. Put the plastic wrap over it. Nice and tight. Now, what we're going to do, and this is the hard part for me at least, we're going to wait and let it rise till it gets at least double in size. Okay? And then I'll show you what we'll do afterwards. Don't worry about it. I'm going to make you a loaf of bread today that's going to knock you out, all right? Wait, let me tell you something. When this bread is done, I hope you have a pot of sauce going. Because, you know, if you're real Italian, you're not even going to cut this bread. You're going to take chunks off and dunk it in the sauce. Gabish? All right. You see this thing? This is one of these. You don't need this. You know, you can do this on a, but I have it, so I use it. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some parchment paper in the like that. Okay? So when we put our loaves in, they'll be perfect. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some bench flour, okay? I'm going to spread that very liberally. I'm using this board because I don't want to use the wood because it soaks in the moisture of the dough, and then it makes it difficult to get off of there. Now, we take a look at this. See that? Now it looks really, it is sloppy, but that's what we want. Now I'm going to try to do this. Well, let me do it from the other side. All right, watch. And just pour that dough right out there. Okay. Just scrape it out. Beautiful. Okay? Empty. If you don't have one of these, you better go down to your restaurants or wherever your restaurants are. You can get them online. It's a dough scraper. That's what you want. Okay? You're going to use a lot of flour here. But you see how this dough is? This is not as forgiving. It's beautiful, but it's not as forgiving as pizza dough or pasta dough. You can't use too much flour here either. You know, be liberal with it because it's okay. It's the only time in your life you should ever be liberal. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this in half. Well, all right, I'll weigh it for you, okay? Nah, we don't have to weigh it. We can do it by hand. We're going to cut this in half as close as we can get to cutting it in half, as you saw in a previous video. I'm pretty good at judging. Well, no, not that good. Now what we're going to do is just kind of, you know, put it together like this. You got to be tender with this dough. She's a nicer girl. Okay. It's a little sticky, like I told you, but that's okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. Okay. Like almost in little torpedoes. Okay. Just like so. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we put more flour on. Put some on the bottom too, just to make sure. See the bubbles? They're already bubbling. You want bubbles. You want bubbles because that's gas. That's going to give you that nice, fluffy light in with all the holes on the inside. Okay? Like that. Alright? And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a towel over it. I'll show you. You could use saran wrap or, you know, plastic wrap, but I like to use a towel. We're going to put a towel over it, a mapine as they say. And we're going to leave it and let it rise some more. Okay. It's been maybe an hour, not even. You know, but what we're going to do is we're going to take our loaves and we're going to put them in this thing. I've put some flour. Actually, this is some of our 3-blend pasta flour because it's a little gritty because it has semolina in it. But we're going to take these, okay, very gently, and we're going to stretch them out on this thing. Okay. Whoop, a little more. stretch them out on here. We'll roll this one a little bit more like so. I don't get them too big because then they'll grow right out of this thing. Whoops. It's okay. See all those bubbles? That's good stuff. And we're going to leave those bubbles. Okay, we're going to let this rise a little bit more, and then we're going to preheat our oven to about 450 degrees, okay? And then you know what we'll do? Well, we'll do that later. We're going to snip the tops, okay? We'll do that just before we pop them in the oven. All right? Okay, you see, I don't know if you can see this, but this is a pan of water, okay? What we're going to do is, we've got the first shelf on the lowest rung of this thing, and we're going to put this pan of water while the oven is heating up. We're going to put that pan of water in there very carefully. You don't want to spill any of it. And then we're going to take this middle shelf here, this here, and we're going to lower it down. It's right, pretty much the second rung up on this one. So what's going to happen here is that you're going to get steam, obviously. And the steam is going to give you that Italian crust. It's Italian. Do you ever notice how some Italians say Italian? It's Italian. But anyhow, that's what's going to happen. So it's going to give it a nice crustiness. You'll see. Well, I said that we'd wait until they rose nicely, which they did. You can see that. And instead of 450, I put the oven up to 500. And now what we're going to do is we're going to usually take a razor and do this, but I like just snipping like this. See how the... Alright? Now what we're going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in the oven. I'm going to let it bake for however long. We're going to take a look at it, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes maybe. But we'll keep checking on it. I'm going to pop the oven open. See how that water's boiling in there? That's just where we want. We want that steam. And very gently, we're going to put, well, let's do it this way. Put our loaves just like that. Button it up. In a little while, we're going to have Italian bread from Fusco. So remember, this is Fusco Imports 3-flour bread blend. You can't buy it anyplace else, and I'm telling you, there's absolutely no question that what you're going to find. See, this is our work area. See, works out good. You got to, it's a simple little thing. You're going to find that the bread is tastier. It's like nothing you've ever eaten before. Trust me when I tell you. What I wanted to tell you, what I forgot to tell you, is that you see the loaves are going to rise a little bit, but that steam is going to get, that steam's going to make the dough, the crust very, very crispy. But what you want to do is after maybe a minute, when that hits 500 degrees, when your oven hits 500 degrees, let it go a minute, with the bread in the oven, obviously. Let it go a minute and then turn it down to 450. Okay? I forgot to tell you that, sorry. I want you to look at this bread. Look at that. It's not done yet, but take a look. Isn't that beautiful? It's a little trick. Same thing we do with the pizzas. What we did is we took we took the loaves off the baking pan, and we're just laying them on the racks, okay? And so we got the tops nice and brown. Now we'll get the bottoms nice and brown, and give it about 5-10 minutes, and your loaves are done. Okay, you can see what I did is I put, the pan with the water in it is nicely humidifying the bread to give it that nice crust. But what I did is I put because the cal rod unit, the heating unit, is on you want to get the bread pretty much over that heating unit. But you can see how beautifully this is shaken up. And listen to it. They say if it's hollow, it's done. I don't believe that. Let it go. It's not going to hurt to let it get brown, nice and brown on both sides. And you know, bread, it's worth it. It's always worth it. We're ready to take these take these loaves out of the oven. I don't want to burn your hands. Look at that. Look at that. It's beautiful. Come here. Okay, what I did is I transferred them obviously to a cooling rack. Okay? And you should let them sit for, hey, look at the temptation is dig right in. But you don't want to do that, because if you do, it still has moisture in it. And you want to let that moisture kind of dissipate. And so what you want to do is leave these to cool. I would tell you to leave, if you can resist the temptation, leave them for about an hour, 2 hours. And then cut into it. But look, you can hear that's Italian bread. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, let's cut into this. There, I want to show you something. See the holes? That's good bread. Hear the crunch? Watch, I'm going to take a bite. You're drooling, aren't you? It's unbelievable. There you have it. Bread made with Fusco Imports 3-flour bread blend. Excuse me. It's that good. Go to www.fuscoimports.com and order yourself 5 pounds of every one of our flours. The pasta, the pizza, and the bread flours. And I'm going to tell you something. You'll come back for more. Bon appetit. I'm Peter Fusco for Fusco Imports. Eating bread.